Hello, internet users. Tonight we are going to play Amnesia. It's going to be part of our Freaky Friday series. Oh my gosh, I can't talk tonight. So, it's going to be part of our Freaky Friday series, in which I play some random horror game, basically, every Friday. So, as soon as the mouse starts responding, we'll get to it. So, start new game. Normal.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... I am Daniel.
Follow the wood trail and find its source. Pretty cool. try to switch to my controller here because I'm leaning pretty far in and freaking myself out. That doesn't seem to want to switch. Oh well, it was worth a quick try. Daniel, David, whatever your name is, we got this. Traveling to Dover meant going through Canterbury. He made sure to pay a visit to avoid the sense of guilt connected with the impact of something, because I didn't read that fast enough. I only got one tinderbox. I don't like this. Oh my god. Nope, 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 nope. Starting to think Freaky Fridays is a bad idea.
19th of August, 1839. I wish I could ask how much you remember. I don't know if there will be anything left after I consume this drink. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
Wonderful. Slammed shut behind him, and he knew he'd never see the old trailer at Berkeley Square again. Mother was so young and seemed appropriate somehow.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brandenburg.
I feel like we need to do that. Avoiding it. mouth. Turkish delights, he thought, just like the ones at the consulate in Constantinople. Stable ingredients in storage. Some seem infected, but many are stained by the fumes and will be difficult to salvage. I shall do what I can to move them to the wine cellar.
Should be more coop rats. Let me see. And one part aquafortis.
Compound lacked the potency I needed, but I sent some close calamine and ointment are given, and the liberate binds them well. This time I'll attempt aqua regia instead of aqua fortis in hopes they will produce a more even solution. The experiment was unsuccessful. The solution is highly acidic and proves impractical to put any use except as a detergent. Organic tissue reacts especially violently to the solution and should be handled with greatest care. I might be able to use the recipe, but I'm losing hope that I will find an alchemic solution to my predicament. Doing terrible things, I take comfort in you. As long as I am able to think of you and long for our life together, I know I'm better than the others. I weep for them. They lust for power without restraint, or I only crave fair judgment and safe return. want his name voiced instead of the rising pace, urging him to do it. Am I really doing this? The young boy thought, as he struck his victim with a rock. The one side. Guessing with that kind of means wine cellar. Now I need to go find a key. Tears were beginning to well in his eyes as he received the first kick in his stomach. Hazel remained hidden and feared she too would be punished. Rare books.
16th of May, 1839. The unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk. How Professor Herbert managed to find the location in these vast plains of nothingness remains a mystery to me. When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought, and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark, cold night. Tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the Professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
I hereby offer my full attention and services to Alexander, Baron of Brennenburg. This contract will reign for a total of 3 years, when my freedom shall return to me. In addition, Alexander, Baron of Brennenburg, is to recommend my services at the Prussian royal court within the sanctum of Order of Black Eagle. May no man break his seal. Wilhelm, House of Gedrick.
"17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write. I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger. Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off whatever lay ahead. I gave the order to raise it, and as I pushed through the narrow space, the heavy stone suddenly dropped, sealing me inside. I was trapped.
Oh, that's how we do it. Okay. Or there. Okay, okay, okay. That helps.
castle is old and hasn't been tended to for centuries. When the shadow arrives, it won't take long until things start falling apart.
We're just buying time anyway. Let's do what we can.
There isn't much to be done about the walls. We should reinforce weak structures. The ground will tremble and there's a risk everything will cave in on us, especially downstairs. Here, and there. Let's get the servants working on it.
17th of May, 1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer. My weakened body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light. It was waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light. I reached out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety, and grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
Oh, crap. I thought something happened there.
You have to be swift when you activate the first one. You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
Allstat and Brenningburg Castle, 1801. Another region rich with its floors. Allstat, deep within the East Prussian woods. For centuries there have been stories surrounding the hamlet and its neighbor, the Castle Brenningburg. The quiet, forest-clad mountains dressed with scattered lakes is as picturesque as can be, albeit the area is haunted by the dark. Ask any local and you will hear proof of the widespread superstition. All travelers should indulge themselves in such conversation, since it will certainly serve as exciting entertainment. All of them have their own twists on the tales, but there are some motifs that keep reappearing. The Gatherers. The story reaches all the way back to the time of the 30 Years' War. It is said that the soldiers who abandoned their duty got lost in the cold, dark woods and were forever damned to roam the grounds. Their bodies, wrought by their tainted souls, have left them disfigured and empty of essence. Many have cited them over the years and described them as hard of reverence. They move silently through the woods, shying away from any beholder. They are the Gatherers, as they seem to follow some ambition to steal living creatures. It is their prey which they can be heard struggling inside damp burlap sacks dragged behind them, which reveal their presence. What dark scheme do they follow? A visit undone. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, the well-known erudite, visited Alstadt at the start of the 16th century. He resided in the local inn for a fortnight as he looked for remnants of the kingdom's past. During his stay, all of the prominent members of society paid notice, as he mentioned in many records of the time. One day he went to investigate a burrow in the northwest glades, only to never be seen again. Heinrich is known to have passed away in Chernobyl some 10 years later. He dismissed the notion of ever visiting Alstadt, which makes you wonder what really happened. Who is this mysterious man who visited the sleepy hamlet in the woods, and what happened to him? The immortal Baron. The Baron of Brandenburg lives a recluse life with his family at his castle nearby Alstadt, and like most of those of noble birth, rumors are inherited alongside with the title. Researching in the history reveals little before the castle was consumed by fire in the late 16th century. It was rebuilt by Alexander, a nobleman from Rhinelands, claiming the role as protector of the Prussian state. Alexander helped the region to flourish and remain popular throughout his presumed lifetime. The family had always been secretive when it comes to lineage and heritage, therefore the birth and death of Alexander and his offspring has never been fully recorded. This has fed the idea that the Baron is in fact the one and the same, who came from the west over 300 years ago, lived through the time of occupation, and joined the coveted Order of the Black Eagle, along with great leaders of this country. Wilhelm and his fools have endangered my research long enough with their absent-minded handling of the human vessels. The sheriff is keeping a watchful eye on the forest and is killing my trusty servants. It is a matter of time until they follow the trail to Brandenburg. I need to lock Wilhelm and his men up to avoid further investigation from the police. The wine cellar will therefore be sealed off until the matter has been handled. Either the king's men leave or they will starve. Whatever comes first, they can rot for all I care. Maybe I will feed them some wine. That would, in a sense, solve both of my problems. to actually gazing into. Oh, for the love of God. Ah! Sand gave way to his tired body as he fell from the camel's back. He felt the wind gently sweep across his face and his dry, crusted lips. Beware when standing in darkness.
Baron go?
Who cares? He left us enough wine to last us a lifetime. Or at least until tomorrow.
That taste, that fragrance, Damascus rose.
Happening. Oh, feels like my chest is going to burst.
God! Wilhelm, do something!
Accept it. We're not getting out of here.
How can you say that? Alexander, you piece of shit! Let us out of here!
Go ahead and say they drank the potion. Wilhelm's last words. My name is Wilhelm, House of Gerreich. These are my final words, my confession and testament. 2 years ago, I was summoned to the castle of Brennenburg. As most of the aristocracy, I was curious about what this supposed knight of the order could want from me and accepted the invitation. The Baron was friendly and offered me a proposition. It dawned on me that the nature of the contract was sordid, and that the reason I was chosen was because of the follies of my past and not the honors I have been rewarded with during my time as a soldier. I was to kidnap healthy humans upon his slightest whim, and do so without asking questions. In return, he would attest to my character at the royal court, advancing my position within noble society. I would like to claim that I struggled with my decision, but it came swiftly and I accepted wholeheartedly. Ever since that day, I've brought men, women, and children to Brennenburg. I can't remember the numbers, but there were many, perhaps even 100, none of whom were ever seen or heard from again. Tonight the Baron invited me and my men down to the wine cellar to celebrate our work. I had my suspicions as we descended the stairs, but he insisted and joined us in a toast. The wine tasted fine and my men drank without restraint. So begins the punishment for our sins. The Baron has locked us up and returned upstairs. Forgive me for what I have done. I was weak and I fell into his diabolical ways. My men are screaming. Their skin has been pierced by their own tangled bones. I feel my insides revolting against their God-given nature. Blood has begun to pour from my eyes and I can no longer. Must be Wilhelm then. Alright, guys. I think that's actually all I can manage to take tonight. Thanks for joining me for Freaky Fridays. I can't say I'm looking forward to this next week, but I hope you guys are, so thanks for joining me.